Welcome back to my channel, guys. Let's go ahead and start our entry for the top 20 of the NYX Face Awards. I'm going to start by blocking out half of my brow, so I'm going to cover that in some glue stick, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this NYX color correcting palette. I'm taking the orange one, and I'm just going to apply that right over our hair. When blocking out our brows, orange will conceal any darkness, same with using under your eyes, so it'll block out the brown in my brows and just leave me with a natural skin. Then I'm going to use a translucent powder and set that, and I'm going to go ahead and do this in layers until all the darkness is completely gone. Once you feel like that is completely covered all the darkness, you're going to take a natural color concealer. So I'm going to be using the NYX Full Coverage concealer. This is in the shade Light. This is a tattoo coverage concealer, so it's definitely going to conceal any of the dark hairs that's left, as well as give it a skin tone effect so it looks like I have only half my brow there. Setting that with some translucent powder so it's easier to work with, and just setting it in place. I'm using the NYX Colorful Palette. I'm using the purple shade, and I'm going to go ahead and just map out my brows. The reason I did cover half my brows because I wanted my brow to be more straight, so I'm just going to go ahead and map out my shape. And I'm taking the NYX Vivid Brights liner in Vivid Violet, and I'm just going to go ahead and line out my brows. So this is basically like acting like as a brow gel and just resetting everything. So I'm adding a darker color, setting everything, and just making them more vibrant. To map out my cut crease, I'm using this NYX eyeshadow base. This is a white eyeshadow base. I'm just using that on a flat brush, and I'm going to go ahead and apply this all over my lid and cut where I want the crease and wing it out just slightly. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut in the crease so that way I have a nice map for the shape of the cut crease that I'm going to be doing. I decided to do a little bit different of a cut crease. I didn't want to do the glitter on the lid. I decided to do the glitter in the crease. So I wanted it to be a little bit different, but it still has the same shape, so I'm going to go ahead and map that out. Then I'm going to set under my brow bone with the shadow Kiss the Day, and I'm going to go ahead and just set under my brow. I just wanted this to be nice and opaque, as well as covering up any of the trace of the brow there, so that way it all blends in and I have a nice transition to blend my shadows with. For my lid, I'm setting it with a prismatic shadow. I will have all the colors in the description bar below, and I'm just going to set over everywhere that I put the base. This is a metallic-ish shadow, so it has more of a sheen to it, so it kind of gives that cool purple reflect, so that's why I decided to use this shadow. Picking up that colorful palette again, I'm mixing the two oranges, so the more coral orange and a more true orange, and I'm applying this on a fluffy brush. So I decided to go more in the inner socket next to my nose, so I'm just filling in that to give it more of a shadow and more of a characteristic feel. Then I'm just going to map out the crease, so I'm just going along the crease line and flicking that out. So again, just making that shadow in the inner corner right there, and then taking it through my crease, flicking it out, and I'm just going to go over that with the same purple that we used to map out our brows. So I just wanted that purple and that orange to mix. Since this glitter isn't going to be super blendable, I'm not going to have a nice transition as much, so I'd rather make the transition under so that way I can just set on top with the glitter and make it all look smooth. So to make our glitter stay, we're definitely going to need some adhesive, so I'm using the NYX Glitter Glue. I'm taking a flat brush and applying this into my crease. So I'm literally just painting this into my crease all the way from the inner corner back to the outer corner, flicking it out. You don't want to get any of this on the lid, since where that shadow is, we don't want glitter there. So I'm going to keep this in the crease. Even though there is no adhesive there, the glitter shouldn't necessarily stick, but make sure that that adhesive is just staying in the crease and flick it upwards so you have some patches of a little bit more glue and less glue, so the glitter won't be just a thick straight line. Next, I'm taking a purple NYX glitter and a fluffy brush and just applying this into the crease. I'm just patting this over the glue, over the adhesive, so I'm going from the inner corner again to the outer corner. As you can see, it's kind of making this sharp line, so what I need to go back and do is pat a little bit more glue right above the glitter, not necessarily super even, just so it looks more like a blended look. So maybe little pieces of glitter will hit a little bit higher than others, giving that effect of it being a crease. So I'm just going ahead and patting over that, taking it up a little bit higher, making it look like it is fading out. With glitter being in the crease, I didn't want the lid to be completely bare, so I took some glue on my finger and just patted that onto the center of my eyelid. And then I went ahead and took this holographic glitter, and I applied that right on the lid. So I just wanted to pop in another little bit of glitter of a different color to give a little bit more shine when I'm outside and stuff like that. So I'm taking my Vivid Brights liner, this is the yellow one, I believe it's in the color Halo, and I'm going to go ahead and apply this into my crease. So I'm just literally going right against the glitter, making a line into my crease. So just adding a graphic liner, making more definition, adding more color, and just following the crease. So once that liner is done, I'm going to go ahead and apply some black liner and lashes. I just applied a wing but made it more of a straight wing and just applied some thick lashes. Taking a white liner pencil, I'm lining the inner rim of my eye as well as under my eye. Since this is an anime theme, we want our eyes to look a lot bigger. So we're going to go ahead and color in the inner rim of our eye as well as right under our eye, but we're attaching it to where it would look most natural. Now I'm taking the Diamond Lush shadow from NYX, so I'm going to go ahead and set that. So I'm just setting the white, making sure that liner didn't crease or wear off or anything. So whenever you have a liner, if you're setting it with a shadow, it's going to stay even better. So I went ahead and do that. Then, since I'm making my eye look bigger, I need to add like a little lower lash line. So I'm taking that purple again that we first used on our brows and the one we also used in our crease. And I'm taking a liner brush and just applying this under my eye, and I'm connecting that up to the wing. So I wanted it to be a little bit more opaque, so I took a little bit fluffier shadow brush and just started going over that to make a little bit thicker line under there and have it be more blown out. Then I'm taking this brown taupe shadow from NYX, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that under my eye as well. So I'm just adding that shadow, almost like the contour to your eye, to make it look like it is really that big. Then I'm adding some little tiny falsies. This is the NYX Fatal Falsies, and I just went ahead and snipped them up into little pieces and applied them under my eye. Then I went ahead and just took a contour shade from NYX, and I took my brush and just went under my cheeks. I kind of made this silly face you'll see in a second. I don't really know what face that is, but I really just wanted to map out my cheeks and make them look very round. So as you can see, I'm going almost like how a Nike check would, curving up the bottom of my cheeks. I want them to look as round as possible, and I have a very large forehead, so I decided to shape that down slightly. So I went ahead and just went over my forehead and the contour of my face just to make my cheekbones look a little bit higher and make my forehead look a little bit smaller. Also, animes have quite small noses, so I went ahead and contoured down my nose. I didn't do like a harsh contour, I just went ahead and added some shadow around my whole nose to make it appear to be a little bit slimmer. Then I'm taking a nice rose blush and I'm applying this directly on the apples of my cheeks. They always tend to have very, very pink flushed cheeks, so I went ahead and applied this straight on my cheeks as well as my nose to kind of give that whole flushed effect across my face. Taking a foundation brush, I just kind of went over it so it wasn't so patchy and wasn't so strong. Using my NYX gray colored felt tip liner, I'm going to make these 3 lines right under my eye. So I noticed when animes, most of the girls have these little lines under their eyes or on their cheeks, so that's where those came from. Taking a white liquid liner, I just went ahead and highlighted those. So I wanted mine to be kind of warrior-ish-esque, I guess, so I just wanted to add these 2 little stripes across my nose. So I took that gray liner again. I decided to use gray instead of black. I felt like it wasn't as harsh, even though it wouldn't make a huge difference, but black would definitely stand up a lot more, so I went ahead and used gray. Then I took the white again and just highlighted across my nose because I wanted it to look more cartoony. Using my NYX Lid Lingerie, I'm going to go ahead and make these 3 dots. So this is where Sailor Moon's inspiration came in because I loved Sailor Moon as a child. So I'm just going to make these 3 dots. So I make one in between my eyes, one at the top of my forehead, and one on the other side of my forehead, and I just went and connected those. So I'm making this like crown kind of thing that Sailor Moon had. It's kind of like a little like battle crown. Whenever they like went into like their Sailor Moon mode, they would have these like cool crown things. So I went ahead and did that, and since this lid lingerie is metallic, it makes it look like it's actually gold. I wanted this to look as real as possible for makeup, so I went ahead and took that taupe shadow again and went right along the crown. So I just made a shadow on the bottom side, so it almost looks like it's slightly raised on my forehead, so it has that shadow of it being raised more than just on your skin. Next, I took my light purple Vivid Lights liner, Vivid Bright, sorry, not lights, and I just made an upside down little teardrop across the middle of the crown, and then I just went ahead and filled that in. So this is going to go ahead and be like that little jewel on our crown, so I went ahead and did that. Then I felt like it was kind of flat, just being all purple, and I didn't want to just add a white line, so I went ahead and took that purple sheen shadow that we used on our lid, the prism one, and I went ahead and added that for some highlight and definition, then added a white liquid liner to make the actual reflect of the light. Then I wanted to add some highlight onto the crown so it looked even more realistic, so I added these 2 white lines, and I was like, you know what, let's make it more fun, so I added some dots above that as well. So with highlights, we have to have shadows, so I went ahead and took my gray liner again and just shadowed, well, outlined parts of the crown. I didn't want to outline the whole crown, I felt like that would look too fake, so I just added some little lines. Even though this by any means doesn't look completely realistic, I feel like just with those little touches of the shadow, it looks a little bit more realistic than being completely just outlined. So I went ahead and added some little lines here and there, outlining it and giving it more definition. For For my lips, I wanted to do something fun, so I took my NYX Liquid Suede Lipstick in Sway, and I went ahead and applied this bright purple to my top lip. Now, anime normally just have color basically in the middle of their lip, and it kind of ombres out or fades out, but I wanted to do the whole top lip purple, and then I wanted to do the bottom more like that ombre effect. So after doing the top lid purple, I went ahead and just took some concealer, any concealer that matches your skin tone, and just apply this to your bottom lip. This is going to erase your bottom lip, so that when you do apply this lipstick here in the center, and then once you pat that out, it does look more like an ombre instead of like a lined lipstick. So now I just have kind of that blended ombre of purple color in the middle here. After doing that, I wanted to add a little bit more oomph, so I decided to take my white liner again, add a little dot in the center of my bottom lip, as well as a little stripe at the top. So I wanted it to go with that whole like warrior kind of theme with my little anime girl, so I decided to do that. For my hair, it's obviously purple again, and I decided to start with ponytails and pull some little pieces out, like those anime have little pieces. Took my Redkin hairspray, and I went ahead and just teased my ponytail up. My hair was freshly washed, so I definitely needed some texture, so I went ahead and sprayed that with hairspray and teased it. Then I just went ahead and twisted it in a little bun, and I just kind of made it messy. So once I twisted it, I left some space in there, not like a tight twist, but just something a little bit looser, and sprayed that, and added 2 bobby pins. Since my hair is so thin, 2 bobby pins can hold it. Did the same thing to the other side, teased it, wrapped it around. Just keep wrapping it around until you find the bun you like. Sometimes it takes me a few times to get the bun the shape that I want, but once I had it how I liked, I absolutely loved it. So if I had an anime character, it would definitely have space buns, it'd definitely be Sailor Moon inspired, and it'd definitely have some tribal aspects to it. So I'm really happy with my anime look. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I'm so happy and thankful to be in the top 20 of the NYX Face Awards. It would absolutely mean the world to me if I could get pushed into the top 12 in the NYX Face Awards. So that means I need you guys to vote for me. I am one of the smaller YouTubers in this competition. I'm going against some people with some huge amounts of followings, and I need all the help I can get. I need all the votes I can get. I worked so hard on my video, guys. Editing took me quite some time, but it's exactly how I wanted it to be, so I'm really proud of it, and I hope you guys did enjoy it too. Don't forget to vote. Go to nyxfaceawards.com, click my video. You can vote 3 times per day per email. So I really hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys please take the time to vote for me, and I'm so thankful to be in this competition, and I really hope to make it to the next round. I hope to see you guys in my next video, and stay updated with the competition. Bye, babes. Mwah.